Hey folks, Dave here at Thunder Mesa studio where I am busily cleaning out a corner over here to make some space for an all-new model railroad project. And it's something that's kind of been haunting the back of my mind for a long time, and I'm excited to get started on it. And I can hear some of you out there saying, what? Another new project? Don't you already have enough to do on the Thunder Mesa layout as it is? Well, yes, I do. I have plenty to do. There are plenty of projects to keep me busy on the Thunder Mesa layout for years. But, sometimes when inspiration strikes, you just got to scratch that itch. At least I hope that's inspiration. But before we get too deep into this, let me back up a little bit. Recently, I was out in California visiting some friends. A small consortium of individuals that I like to hang out with who are all into some very interesting story-based ON30 modeling. And most of them have created these small portable layouts, and each one has its own really unique theme. They're wonderfully realized. And every time I go and see these guys, I come away inspired, thinking, I should really pull out one of those ideas from the attic that I have and build my own small portable layout. I've been threatening to do it for years, and this time, gosh darn it, I'm going to do it. And so there's one idea in particular that's been, like I said, haunting the back of my mind, and that's the one I'm inspired to try and build. It's for a ghost train. Basically a Halloween sort of themed layout where a train starts in this little ghost town in the middle of nowhere out in the desert, kind of Death Valley-like scenery, and disappears into these caverns, which are full of all sorts of amazing effects. Lots of cool lighting and sound, Pepper's Ghost effects, and pop-up skeletons and things like that. The idea originally started as a concept I was developing for a dark ride called the Gruesome Gulch Railroad. And now that has morphed into this little small layout that I want to build. And right now, when this video is published, it'll be the beginning of July 2022. So that gives me all of July, August, September, and most of October to try and get this done before Halloween 2022. So that's the challenge I am setting myself. And I also want to keep working on other projects on the Thunder Mesa layout at the same time. So I'll kind of go back and forth. One week I'll be working on the ghost train, and the next week I'll be working on the Thunder Mesa layout. So we'll see how that works out, right? But in the meantime, I've already got a plan drawn up. So let's take a closer look at that. So the plan is to create this small layout measuring just 72 inches long by 32 inches wide. And just for fun, I've designed it in the shape of an old-time coffin. Locomotives and cars will be strictly short wheelbase to handle the very tight 10-inch radius curves. Bachmann ON30 porters should do very well here. Trains will leave the spooky ghost town of Gruesome Gulch and then enter an abandoned mine below imposing Skull Butte. And that's where the real fun begins, as we travel down below Boot Hill Graveyard. Visible only from the backside of the layout will be the underworld realm of Cadaver Caverns. Here, trains will cross a glowing river of lost souls and pass a graveyard of pop-up skeletons before encountering an otherworldly version of the town above. This time populated by some rollicking deceased citizens celebrating in a haunted hoedown, brought to life, so to speak, using the same Pepper's Ghost illusion that is so effective at Disney's Haunted Mansions. A second track will loop on a lower level, with a train filled with ghosts, ghouls, and goblins. Then we exit through a mausoleum and pass below Hangover Rock before returning to the desolate town. So I've got my plan, and I printed out several copies here. And even though you know, the plan is fairly elaborate, like I like to do, there's another step I want to do before I start cutting plywood and foam and actually building the thing. I want to build a little planning model at scale. And the scale of this drawing is 1/8 inch equals 1 inch. So it'll be a 1/8 inch scale model. And what that will really help me do is visualize the whole thing in 3 dimensions. The different layers and levels of scenery. I'm not going to totally model all the scenery and everything in miniature, but I am going to get a kind of a good working model of the bench work and the cuts I need to make, and you know, give me an idea of which components can fit where as far as lighting and animation and stuff like that. So that's the next step, or I should say that's the first step. So first thing I want to do is laminate each one of these to probably some chipboard, just to give them a little weight and body. So I've got some white chipboard here, which is very, very close to a 1/16 of an inch thick. So at 1/8 inch scale, that would mean this is 1/2 an inch. So this will make a really good stand-in for 1/2 inch plywood on our planning model. So let's see, I've got the 2 track levels and then the base level. So I probably need at least 3. Now, let's save that one if I need an extra. Now I can coat the back of each one of these with some Super 77 spray adhesive. For this next level, it's got to clear these tracks down below, and in ON30, 4 inches of clearance is about the minimum, but I'd actually like this to be a little higher than that, so I cut some strips that are 6 inches at this scale, and I'm going to use those as risers, so this level will be 6 inches above the one down below. Now I don't really want the riverbed down here to be at the very bottom. I want a little bit of room under that because there's going to be some lighting underneath there, for one thing. So I get to be about 2 inches up from the bottom. So I've cut a piece of foam core, which is a 1/4 inch thick. So that'll represent those 2 inches. And the last thing on this is a stand. I went ahead and made from some foam core. There we go. Which is keys in there. And what that does is that brings the whole thing up to the height that the model will be. It's 48, 49 and a half inches off the floor, which is about right. That's a pretty good height for ON30. The Thunder Mesa layout is 52 inches above the floor. I wanted this to be just a little bit lower, so that'll work out just fine. You know, this only took me about 3 hours, and I think that's time well spent because now, you know, I have a much better idea of the mass of the thing and what it's going to take to build some bench work. And that's next. I built a basic framework from dimensional composite lumber, in this case 1x2s, to keep things nice and lightweight. All of the joints were securely fastened with wood glue and coarse threaded 1 1/4 inch drywall screws. The hardest part was figuring out and cutting all of the fancy angles, but once that was done, the whole thing went together fairly quickly. This is going to live right here, in what's basically the front parlor of the studio. Well, now I am going to build a stand for it, just like what you see here in the planning model. In fact, the stand's going to have wheels on it, so I can roll it around, move it if I need to. But I think this is about all I have time to get done this week, so for now, it's going to live temporarily on this folding table. So that is the humble beginnings of the Gruesome Gulch Railroad. Now, I have a little less than 4 months to get this done if I want to have it done by Halloween, so look for the next installment in this series real soon. Until then, you can follow Thunder Mesa on Instagram, that's thunder.mesa, or see what's new on the Thunder Mesa Studio website at thundermesa.studio. And if you really like what we're doing here on the channel and would like to help get Thunder Mesa Studios videos and podcasts on the air, you can do what these nice folks did and go over to patreon.com/thundermesa and show your support there. Until next time, keep moving forward, everybody. Adios for now.
Ain't got nobody, and nobody cares for me.